Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet. Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Neshtike. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Bhagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pricharine Nirviseshasha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we continue our reading of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 6, Text 31. Narayane Bhagavate Tad Idam Vishwam Ahitam Grihita Mayoru Guna Sargadav Aguna Swataha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. All the material manifestations of the universes are therefore situated in the powerful material energies which he accepts self-sufficiently. Although he is eternally without affinity for the material modes. The question put by Narad before Brahma concerning the sustenance of the material creation is thus answered. Material actions and reactions, as the material scientist can superficially observe, are not basically ultimate truth in regard to creation, maintenance, and destruction. The material energy is a potency of the Lord, which is displayed in time, accepting the three qualities of goodness, passion, and ignorance in the forms of Vishnu, Brahma, and Shiva. The material energy thus works under the supreme spell of his lordship, although he is always transcendental to all such material activities. So the scientists, they try to explain the working of the universe, try to understand the working of the universe, but because they forget the most important factor, and that is the creator himself. So they don't have the perfect answers. The creator is Krishna, and then he is maintaining this material universes, the material manifestation. The material energy, the cosmic manifestation is his material energy, which is categorized as the three modes of material nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. And Lord Vishnu, he is in charge of the mode of goodness, Lord Brahma in the charge of mode of passion, and Lord Shiva in the charge of mode of ignorance. But everything is working under the orders of Krishna. He is not under the modes. The modes don't control him. He is the controller of the modes. So like if a king enters a prison house, does it mean that the king has become a prisoner? No, he's just visiting the prison house. The prisoners are there. Those are the prisoners. But the king is not. So same way, Krishna, he's not within the modes. Even though he comes and visits this material world out of his kindness, he's not within the modes. He's beyond the modes. So a rich man constructs a big house by spending his energy in the shape of resources. And similarly, he destroys a big house by his resources. But the maintenance is always under his personal care. The Lord is the richest of the rich because he is always fully complete in 6 opulences. Therefore, he is not required to do anything personally, but everything in the material world is carried out by his wishes and direction. Therefore, the entire material manifestation is situated in Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So everything is happening by the orders of Krishna, but he doesn't have to personally. Personally, he doesn't have to switch on the rain, the clouds, and say, okay, now the rainfall should come. Or personally, he has to now lift up the sun so the sun can rise in the sky, or personally, he has to put the moon down. No, everything is done by his desire. He's already made the system. The whole material creation is working under his order. Same way we can see as a CEO of a big organization, he's not personally making the documents, personally making the sales calls. No, everything, he has set up a system. So his staff is doing everything. He doesn't have to do everything. So Krishna is also like that. He's the supreme CEO of this whole material and spiritual universes. The impersonal conception of the supreme truth is due to lack of knowledge only. And this fact is clearly explained by Brahmaji, who is supposed to be the creator of the universal affairs. So the theory that the absolute truth that God is light is only because people have insufficient knowledge. They have not done complete research in the nature of absolute truth. Where is the light coming from? So once we do the research, where is the light coming from? We can see it's coming from Krishna. As we say, when we switch on our electricity at night, when we switch on our light at home. So where is the light coming from? The source is a light bulb or whatever, LED, whatever you call it nowadays. Or the source of sunshine is, what is the source of this sunshine that we are seeing? Is the sun planet. So if we just do a little research, we can see that the source of this impersonal Brahmajyoti is the person of Krishna. And so that's why in Isopanishad, the mantra 15, it says, oh my dear Lord, please remove this glaring effulgence which is coming out from your body so I can see your person, I can see you. Because this light is so effulgent, it blinds many of us. Brahmaji is the highest authority in Vedic wisdom, and his assertion in this connection is therefore the supreme information. So here, if we try to make some research, whose authority am I following? Maybe I'm following my guru, and so or that's in our spiritual line. So we go guru, guru, guru like that. We'll reach up to Lord Brahma. And what is Lord Brahma saying? He's saying Krishnastu Bhagwan Swayam. Govindam Adi Purusham Tam Aham Bhajami. That Lord Govinda, you're the original seed-giving father. So he's giving us the information. Who's God? That's Govinda. Is that okay?
These 6 complete opulences, I'm just trying to remember. It's fame, wealth, strength,
Yeah.
renunciation,
Yeah.
and fame. What else? What's the 5th one?
Knowledge
Knowledge. Okay.
and beauty.
Beauty. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Krishna has all these
All
opulence
this
in full,
full. Yeah. Complete.
complete.
Okay.
So text 32. And so that's the reason Parasara Muni gives that what's the definition of Bhagwan? Somebody who has all these opulences in full. And if we do any research work, we can see Krishna has them in full, nobody else. So nobody else can write
Right.
Bhagwan.
Correct. But they say 16, no? Sola Kala. Some books somewhere I read also Sola Kala. So what is the difference? 6 and 16?
I have not heard of that. I'm
Not
sorry.
a soul. No.
I don't know what is that.
I've heard of the 64 qualities of Krishna, but I haven't heard of 16.
Yeah.
Sola Kala. I know. I've heard 16 Sola.
I've heard 64, like Krishna has
64.
64 qualities.
Yeah, Kala, right? They say Kala.
Yeah, qualities, yeah. So 64 I have heard, but not 16.
Okay. We should research. We'll Google it. And
Yeah, you can research, where you.
yeah. Correct.
Yeah. So yes, 64 qualities of Krishna are mentioned in Nectar of Devotion.
Devotion.
Yeah, Nectar of Devotion, which is a compilation by Srila Prabhupada from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu by Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami is one of our great acharyas who's given us all these bhakti literatures. And so Nectar of Devotion is from there. And yeah, that mentions the 64 qualities of Krishna. So then reading on text 32. Srajami tan niyukto aham haro harati tad vasaha vishvam purusha rupena paripati trishakti drik. By his will, I create, Lord Shiva destroys, and he himself, in his eternal form, as the personality of Godhead, maintains everything. He is the powerful controller of these 3 energies. So here Brahmaji is telling in truth to Narad Muni what is actually, how is it happening that Lord Brahma, he creates, and Lord Shiva destroys, and that Vishnu himself, he himself is maintaining, the personality of Godhead is maintaining everything, and he is the powerful controller. He's the powerful controller of these 3 energies, and Brahmaji is saying, by his will I create. So it's because of the will of Lord Krishna that Brahmaji is creating. Now he's not independent. Brahmaji does not decide to create by his own whims. Or today I shall create and tomorrow I shall not. No, they're all following the orders of Krishna. Same, Lord Shiva, he also destroys the cosmic manifestation when it is decided by Krishna, not otherwise. So the conception of one without a second is clearly confirmed here. The one is Lord Vasudeva, and only by his different energies and expansions are different manifestations, both in the material and in the spiritual worlds, maintained. In the material world also, Lord Vasudeva is everything, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita 7.19, Vasudeva Sarvam Iti. Everything is Vasudeva only. In the Vedic hymns also, the same Vasudeva is held to be supreme. So what does it mean that everything is Vasudeva? So that means I must go and pray to the chair because that's Vasudeva. Or I must, as then people say, oh, so you, a human being to human being, oh, you are Vasudeva, so you're God and I'm God. Is it like that? Or the trees are God or the sun is God? Is it like that? No, it means that everything is the energy of Krishna. Everything. It could be his material energy, or it could be like us, the Jiva Shakti, his marginal energy. So in that sense, it's called Vasudev, but not that that Vasudev has become everything and he's lost his individuality and that we have all become God. No, that is not the way it is. God is God and we are all his energies. It is said in the Vedas, Vasudevat paro brahman na chanyorito asti tattvataha. In fact, there is no greater truth than Vasudev. And Lord Krishna affirms the same truth in the Bhagavad Gita 7.7. Mata parataram nanyat. There is nothing above me, Lord Krishna. So if we try to do some research work in this universe, at least in our universe, we'll do, oh, who is my father? Who's my father's father? My father's father? Like that, we will come to Lord Brahma. If we are doing proper research work, we have to come to Lord Brahma. And then what does Lord Brahma say? Govindam Adipurusham tam aham bhajami. Oh my dear Govinda, you are my seed-giving father. So then there's no one or nothing above Krishna. He's the source. No one is greater than Krishna. So the conception of oneness, as overly stressed by the impersonalist, is also accepted by the personalist devotee of the Lord. The difference is that the impersonalist denies personality in the ultimate issue, whereas the devotee gives more importance to the personality of Godhead. So the impersonalists, they say that, okay, you are God, I'm God, everybody is God. But the devotee of the Lord says that we are part of God. We are God's energy. We are tiny parts of God. The material world is his material energy and we are his marginal energy. And that Krishnastu Bhagwan Swayam, the Shyam Sundar form of Krishna, that is God, the supreme personality of Godhead. Srimad Bhagavatam explains this truth in the verse under discussion. Lord Vasudeva is one without a second, but because he's all-powerful, he can expand himself as well as display his omnipotencies. The Lord is described here as omnipotent by three energies, three Shakti Drik. So primarily, his three energies are internal, marginal, and external. This external energy is also displayed in the three modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance. So everything belongs to Krishna. All this material world, the spiritual world, and we, the living entities, we all belong to Krishna. Whether we accept it or we don't accept it, it belongs to Krishna. Because we don't accept it, that's why we came here to this material world. Because we wanted to be greater than Krishna. We wanted to be we also wanted to be God. But the truth of the matter is that Krishna has these energies. He has them. The material energy, which is called his external energy, the internal energy, which is his spiritual energy, and the marginal energy, which are we, the Jiva Shakti, the living entities. Then the external energy or his material energy, it is displayed. How can we see this? It's in the modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance. And similarly, the internal potency is also displayed in the three spiritual modes, Samvit, Sandhini, and Hladini. So Samvit, Sandhini, and Hladini potencies are his potencies of eternality, knowledge, and bliss. The marginal potency or the living entities is also spiritual. Prakritim vidhi me param. But the living entities are never equal to the Lord. The Lord is nirasta samya atishaya. In other words, no one is greater than or equal to the Supreme Lord. So we are his marginal potency, but we are also spiritual. But because we are so tiny and we have the independent free will, because we are so tiny, we have to be under shelter always, either under shelter of the spiritual energy or under the shelter of the material energy. And we have the free will to choose. And so we have chosen to be in this material energy, but we can change our choice. At any time, we can change our desire and choose to be under the internal energy. And how do we do that? Immediately when we chant the Hare Krishna mantra, that is the internal energy. Right now, how we are reading from Bhagavatam, This is the internal energy. It's nothing to do with the material world. It's transcendental. And that's why we feel a bliss. So the choice is ours. And then no one is greater than or equal to the Supreme Lord. No one. We can try for millions and millions of years and births, try to do a research. Who is greater than or equal to Krishna? There is no one. So the living entities, including even such great personalities as Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, are all subordinate to the Lord. In the material world also, in his eternal form of Vishnu, he maintains and controls all the affairs of the demigods, including Brahma and Shiva. So Lord Vishnu, he enters into every universe just to maintain it, make sure everything's going properly. Because time and again, there are disturbances in the material world. Then time and again, Lord Brahma, along with the demigods, he will approach Lord Vishnu. Oh, my dear Lord Vishnu, now this demon is troubling us. Please come and save us. We have seen that's how Krishna came. He appeared on the earth as himself, as Krishna himself, because the earth was overburdened. She was crying. So she went to Lord Brahma. And then Lord Brahma took all the demigods to the shore of the ocean of milk. And then they prayed to Lord Vishnu that, oh, there is so much atrocities happening on the earth. She cannot bear it. There's so much sin happening. And she can't bear it anymore. And so that's when Lord Vishnu told them, okay, I'm going to come as myself, as my original self, as Krishna, as my in my original form. So he maintains the affairs of the universe, and the demigods, they are all under his control. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you please once again explain the Samvit, Sandhini and Ladini Shakti just once again?
Krishna is Sat Chid Ananda, eternal, full of bliss and full of knowledge. We are also Sat Chid Ananda, full of knowledge, full of bliss and eternal. So he has this Samvit, Sandhini and Ladini. Ladini is his bliss potency by which he feels happy. And then his Samvit potency is his knowledge, the energy which gives him knowledge. And his Sandhini potency is his eternal potency of him being there eternally. So, but that doesn't mean that it's because of these energies that he is like that. Those are his energies. You know, he's feeling the bliss. It's not that they are separate from him at any time. It's just for our understanding, this is explained in this way. So that he's the controller of these energies. And it is explained, oh, how is he feeling bliss? Because he has this Ladini Shakti, so he's feeling the bliss. And how does he have the knowledge? Because he has this Samvit Shakti, so he has all the knowledge. And then what is the Sandhini Shakti? Because he has this Sandhini Shakti, so he is always eternally existing. Is that okay?
So our soul has got this three Shaktis, right?
Yeah, yes. Yes.
Krishna, what it is.
Yeah. Yes. Krishna is kind, you know, he's very, very kind. He does not say, oh, because I have something, I'm not gonna give it to you. He's very loving. So we are his tiny parts and parcels, tiny. So he's unlimited, but we are 10,000 the size of a tip of a hair. So we have those qualities, Satchidananda, to that degree. We are infinitesimal. We are insignificant. Have we, for example, we go on an ocean, on the beach. On the beach, there is tiny, tiny grains of sand, right? So there's so many grains of sand. So we are like that, one of the grains of sand. You know, so tiny. But we exist and we have all these Satchidananda. We are eternal, we are full of bliss and full of knowledge to our degree. Is that okay?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So then we can read the 33. Etite abhihitam tata yathedam anuprachase nanyad bhagavata kinchid bhavayam sad asad atmakam. My dear son, whatever you inquired from me, I have thus explained unto you. And you must know for certain that whatever there is, either as cause or as effect, both in the material and spiritual worlds, is dependent on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we always want to be free. We want to have freedom. I want to be independent. But that is a myth. Everything is dependent on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's the one who's maintaining this spiritual and material worlds. It's because of Him that these worlds exist. It's because of Him that we exist. You know? So our existence is dependent on Him. Our continuing to exist, to be maintained, to provide for our material needs, emotional needs, everything is dependent on Krishna. The complete cosmic situation, both in the material and in the spiritual manifestations of the energies of the Lord, is working and moving first as the cause and then as the effect. But the original cause is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Effects of the original cause become the causes of other effects. And thus everything, either permanent or temporary, is working as cause and effect. So we will go and see, oh, why did this happen? Because of this. And why did that happen? Oh, because of this. And why did that happen? Because of this. And if we try to do because of what, we will come to Krishna. And because the Lord is the primeval cause of all persons and all energies, He is called the cause of all causes, as confirmed in the Brahma Samhita as well as in the Bhagavad Gita. The Brahma Samhita 5.1 affirms, Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. And in the Bhagavad Gita 10.8, it is said, Aham sarvasya prabhavo mata sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitaha. So the original primeval cause is Vigraha, the personal and the impersonal spiritual effulgence, Brahmajyoti, is also an effect of the Supreme Brahman. Brahmano hi pratisthaham, Lord Krishna. So He's the cause of all causes. Now, we can't do something bad and say, I murdered somebody, but the cause is Krishna. No, not that. That is our independent choice. That choice is given to us by Krishna. But we can't take this, that Krishna is the cause of all causes, so I can be rude to somebody, or I can be angry to somebody, or I can behave in any way, and the cause is Krishna. No, that is our independent choice of how we choose to act, what choices we are given. Yes, but He is the cause of giving us this independence because He loves us. So He's given us the independence to choose how to act. If we love somebody, we cannot put a gun on their head and say, now you must tell me. Now you must say you love me. Now you must do whatever I am telling you to do, and point a gun at them or say, I'm going to whip you if you don't do what I'm telling you to do. But then that is being forced. That means then we are going to act out of fear, not out of love. And Krishna does not want that. And that's why He gives us His independent free will. Is that okay? Any questions or comments?
No, all good.
All good? Then we can stop here. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari.